This explanation will hopefully make you a little more enlightened, a little less anxious, more present, and so on. This is about the causes of your thoughts and actions. It normally feels like you control your body and mind in a top down way. Like you are this singular being and you think, I'm going to move my body and my body moves. I'm going to think certain thoughts and I think those thoughts. Again, it feels like you're this singular, independent controller of the body and mind. But this is a false description. Really, what's happening is there is a plurality of things. This includes conscious thoughts, a lot of unconscious mental activity, things involving your body, the external world, and the social situation. It is this plurality which determines whatever thought you will think or whatever action you will do at any moment. So, what we're doing is we're going from singular to plural, from top down, where there's like one thing which gives orders and instructions to everything else, to a bottom up description, right? Because in the plurality, there isn't some one independent controller who gives everybody directions like a CEO of a company. There's nothing like that in the plurality. Okay, so, or maybe there is, but only like partially. So, since the description I'm giving goes against our natural intuition, it certainly feels like that there is a us, a self here who's controlling the body and mind. Since my description goes against that, I'm going to give 3 pieces of evidence of why I am right. The first is our scientific understanding of things. If you look at neuroscience, there is no one part of the brain that controls all the other parts. Instead, there are different modules, you could say, different parts of the brain that interact and influence each other and sometimes compete for influence over what the body ends up doing. There's descriptions of how the brain is affected by the rest of the body, how an organism is affected by its environment, and if you look into social psychology, how your thoughts and actions are affected by the social situation, peer pressure, things like that. The second piece of evidence is that you don't know what you are going to do until you're already doing it. For example, right now, I don't know exactly what I'm going to say or how I'm going to say it until I'm already speaking. If you ever play sports, sometimes you're not planning in advance everything that you're doing. It just sort of happens. If there was some singular, independent, free controller of your body and mind, then it would be impossible to be surprised by what you end up doing, and you would always have pre-knowledge of it. Since you don't have pre-knowledge of what you're doing, since you can be surprised and find your thoughts and actions unexpected, therefore, that singular independent controller doesn't exist. The third point is similar to the second, and this is that there are times when you make a decision to do something. Maybe you decide that you're going to start a diet tomorrow, or you decide that you're going to do something which is risky. And unfortunately, a lot of the time we end up not following through with our plan. Not because we changed our mind, but because we're simply going against our better judgment. If there was some singular independent controller of things, then that kind of mismatch between your intention and your action would never happen. So therefore, that singular independent self who controls things doesn't exist. Most people have a strong intuition that they are this singular independent controller of their body and mind. It feels, at least on a sort of primitive level, it feels like we are somehow beyond the causal matrix of the rest of the world, that we're somehow independent from it. So what I'm trying to do here is to slowly chip away at that illusion. This is good because, first of all, it is a more accurate way of understanding things. It's literally true as opposed to just an illusion. The second part is when that illusion goes away, then there is a radical acceptance of the present moment. You realize that in a certain sense, this was the only way things could have happened. And then that results in being more present, having less anxiety, and so on.